Hello. I'm Thomas, and today I'm going to show you how I made the choir for my new track Closer. So, in the second build of the track, the vocals start to be accentuated by multiple voices in the back, which form a choir. This is the thing I'm talking about. Lift me up. All the second voices you hear, all the double tracking, all the background vocals, those are made of my own voice. I just recorded myself a bunch of times, stacked them on top of each other, and that creates the choir effect that you hear. These individual vocal tracks sound absolutely horrible. But together, because they are sort of on pitch and they have some pitch correction on top of them, they sound like a lot of people are backing up my main vocal, and that's the effect I wanted to achieve. Pull me through. Even though there are so many voices saying the same thing, you can still clearly understand what the main vocal is trying to sing. And that's because I took out all of the T's and the S's, all the sharp sounds. And if you take off the lead vocal, you can hear that very quickly because the words are pronounced in a very weird way. But that's just post-processing so that the choir does not clash with the main vocal. Take me closer. As you can hear, when the choir sings the word closer, the S kind of falls out and it sounds very unnatural. But because it's just background, it's just sweetening, you do not really notice this in the context of the whole track. Let's have a look at each of these voices separately. There are 4 different voices here, apart from the lead vocal. There's a double take of the lead vocal, which just follows the lead vocal. There is a lower voice, which follows the bass line. There is a lower voice, which sings a counter melody, which is relatively low and does not stand out as much. And then the last one, and that's the most interesting one, there's a mid-range vocal, which follows a counter melody, which complements the lead vocal melody. And especially that last one really makes the choir blend in with the lead vocal and makes it feel like a complete package. The bass vocal sounds like this. Lift me up. That's very monotonous, but because it's just in the background, just creating body for the entire choir, that's perfectly fine. On top of that, we have the second bass voice, which follows a counter melody that's relatively subtle. And that sounds like this. Lift me up. As you can hear, it does follow a melody, but it's not that interesting. But that's okay, because it's just there to complement the other parts. Up next, we have the vocal doubles, which just sing the same melody as the lead vocal, but just add that extra imperfection, that extra width, and that extra life to the vocals. They sound like this. Lift me up. These are only made to have the lead vocal stand out a little bit more. That's the only job they have. And the last one is the counter melody, the main counter melody. And this one, it sits just below the lead vocal, but because the notes are quite close together, they do interact and they do create a chord together. And this is my favorite element of the entire choir because it just makes the thing pop. It sounds like this. Lift me up. This one actually follows a melody that's relatively interesting, but it does not overrule the lead vocal. And that's important for a second voice because you don't want to take the listener's focus away from the lead vocal. Each of these voices has 3 different takes. One on the left, one in the center, and one on the right. And because all 3 takes are done separately and sound different, your brain does notice the difference between left and right, which makes it sound really wide. And when you do this for 4 different layers, times 3 is 12 different voices, you have a lot to work with. And all these imperfections just get buried under this entire choir and they don't stand out at all. On average, it sounds good. So when you grab the choir, the lead vocal, put on the bass line, the rhythmic elements and all the chords, you get the final build-up. And that sounds like this. I am absolutely in love with this part of the track. It's my favorite part by far because there's just so much emotion, so much detail, so much musical lushness. And the fact that so many really bad takes ended up sounding so full just makes me really happy. Alright, that's it for this week. Thank you for watching and see you next time. See ya!